Okay, I wanted to work these. I thought we might have some trouble with problems 34 through 40 on 7-2. Okay, so I'm going to post these for you to work, or the solutions for it. Square root of 3x squared minus 2x plus 2 root 3 equals 0. Okay, remember we're using the quadratic formula, so a is equal to the square root of 3, b is equal to negative 2, c is equal to 2 root 3. So when I do this, I get x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus the square root of b squared, that's negative 2 squared, minus 4ac. Okay, all over 2a. Right, so just simplify from there. You get 2 plus or minus the square root of 4. That is negative 8. 4 times 2 gives us the negative 8. Root 3 times root 3 is 3. 8 times 3 is 24. So negative 24 over 2 root 3. So on the top I get 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 20 over 2 square root of 3. Okay, I can go ahead and tell you now we're not going to like having that square root of 3 in the denominator, so we're going to have to work with that. But I will simplify this on the top if I can. 2 plus I, or 2 plus or minus, that's 4 times 5. That's 2 root 5i. 2 root 5i all over 2 plus root, or 2 times root 3. Okay, so let's take that. So 2's cancel everywhere. So I'll get 1 plus or minus the square root of 5i over root 3. Remember, we're rationalizing the denominator, so that means multiply the top and the bottom by root 3. And so I get 1 plus or minus, or I get square root of 3 plus or minus the square root of 15i over 3. And that's your answer for 34. All right, let's look at 35. And I'll get you set up on these. I'm going to try to this one's 35 is pretty straightforward. 35 is z squared plus iz plus 2 is equal to 0. So we're just going to go a is equal to 1, b is equal to I, z is equal to 2. So go from there. Okay, you can check that answer in the back of the book. If you have more questions, I'll be happy to help you simplify. 36, same type of thing. I'm going to tell you that the answer you should get is negative I. Okay, 36, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2i, and c is equal to negative 1. Okay, 37 and 38 are a little more complicated, so I'll work 37 and I'll leave 38 for you to work. 37, z squared minus 3 plus 2i, z plus 1 plus 3i equals 0. Okay, quadratic formula. A is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 3 plus 2i, and c is equal to 1 plus 3i. Alright, so if we go from here, z is equal to negative b, in this case negative b, plus or minus the square root of b squared, negative 3 plus 2i squared, minus 4 times a times c, 1 plus 3i, all over 2a. Now it's nice that bottom's just going to be 2a. So let's look at this. That's just 3 plus 2i because the negatives cancel. Squaring the inside, the negative's going to go away. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 12i, minus or plus 4i squared. And that gives me negative 4 minus 12i all over 2. So we get 3 plus 2i plus or minus the square root of this right here is negative 4. Okay, so we get 1 because 9 minus 4 is 9 minus 8 is 4. And then the 12 i's will cancel. And so I just end up with 1 underneath the radical, which makes our life really easy, over 2. So I get 3 plus 2i plus or minus 1 over 2. Okay, and so that gives us 3 expressions. 3 plus 2i plus 1 over 2. 3 plus 2i minus 1 over 2. And so I get 4 plus 2i over 2. I get 2 plus 2i over 2. I get 2 plus I and 1 plus I, and those are your answers. Okay, so yeah, that's a little bit work intensive. 38, I'll give you the solution. 38, you should get I and 3 plus I. So try that out. Okay, and then 39 and 40, actually, you can use the quadratic formula. You don't have to use the quadratic formula. Let's look at 39 and go from there. 39, you have 2w plus I over w minus I equals 3w plus 4i over w plus 3i. So first things first, we got to get rid of the fractions, so we can just cross multiply here. 2 plus I times w plus 3i equals w minus I times 3w plus 4i. Alright, so multiply those out. FOIL 2w squared, 6wi plus wi gives us 7wi minus 3. That's 3i squared. Remember, I squared is equal to negative 1, so minus 3. You get 3w squared. You get 4wi on the outside minus 3wi, so you get positive wi. And you get minus 4i squared or plus 4. Everything to the same side now. Moving it to the right, I get w squared by subtracting 2w squared from 3w squared. I get negative 6wi, and I get 7. Okay, that's not factorable, so we use the quadratic formula to where this comes in, plus or minus the square root of negative 6 squared minus 4ac all over 2. A 6wi. There's an I here. There's an I here. Over 2 times 1. Don't forget the I for the B part. Okay. Alright, so I get 6i plus or minus the square root of 36i squared, or negative 36 minus 28 over 2. Alright, and so 6i plus or minus the square root of negative 64i, or negative 64, excuse me, not I yet, over 2, and that's actually nice. 6i plus or minus 8i over 2. So you get 14i over 2, or negative 2i over 2, which is 7i or negative I. So those are your answers for that. And the answers you should get for 40. For 40, you should get the following answers doing a similar type thing. You should get negative 1/3 I and I.